Who or what, you are asking, probably with a few swear words thrown in for good measure, is Schlumberger. Schlumberger is the world's largest oilfield services provider, a massive company based in the United States, boasting its activities in over 120 countries, celebrating its ability to bring its technical expertise to the ever-increasing extraction of hydrocarbons wherever they may be hiding in the ground. 23 billion in a kind of fairly rotten year, with lovely bonuses of $6, $7, $8 million for its CEOs.
And what does it mean for a fossil fuel company like Schlumberger to have a connection to one of the wealthiest, most prestigious universities in the world? A university that is recognized globally for being a leader in scientific innovation, a moral leader. Well, for a company that has consistently denied the science, whose every action goes against the increasingly desperate pleas of climate scientists, frontline communities, students begging for a livable future. It's a gift, it's a lifeline to be able to say to governments as they still hesitate to act, you may look at our record and think this, but we're working with Cambridge University. How could we possibly be so misaligned with the science? How could their esteemed scientists possibly agree to collaborate with us if that were the case? We know that fossil fuel lobbyists are thick across Westminster, Downing Street. When they're able to claim connections to an institution as prestigious as Cambridge, we give them an incredible gift, and we give them that gift for peanuts. The amount of money that we're actually receiving from Schlumberger for a university that is the wealthiest university in Europe. And you would think that in a climate emergency, we might be able to mobilize some of our resources to, yes, conduct crucial climate-related research, although of course Schlumberger isn't doing even that, without greenwashing and laundering the reputations of the companies that are denying the science that we supposedly are so committed to.
Schlumberger developed the technology and provides much of the infrastructure for fracking across the world. Strong resistance to this new fossil fuel industry came from different groups and organisations, and by working together and using a wide range of tactics, we won. Direct action was always going to be necessary to enhance and amplify the work of the local groups. Ongoing protest camps were set up in several locations, and the National Direct Action Network Reclaim the Power mobilised and trained hundreds of people, organising many big events over 5 years. These included the Rolling Resistance in 2017, which succeeded in shutting down the main fracking site at Preston-New Road in Lancashire every day for a month, with creative actions which gained valuable media coverage. It was really inspiring to be part of that movement. The determination and courage of local people who are out on the narrow verge beside that really busy A-road 24 hours a day for over 1,000 days was phenomenal. We learned so much as we worked together, young and old, northern and southern, with our many class and cultural differences, and came to really respect and love each other. United, we were a powerful force. We had a lot of fun, and we won.
Schlumberger is just one of the university's many fossil fuel partners, which also include BP, Shell, and a host of other companies they allow to groom students at their careers fairs. We are often told that we need fossil fuels to keep people warm, mobile, or connected. This is a lie. In 2019, over 3 million people in the UK lived in fuel poverty. That is set to skyrocket with the energy crisis, doubling to 6.2 million. That's over a quarter of households in the 6th richest country in the world, unable to stay warm on days like today. Over 11,000 people die of the cold every year in this country. While the government talks up the UK's renewable energy capacity, this crisis has laid bare our dependency on fossil fuels. In fact, the government's most effective energy strategy to date has been to make the UK one of the most gas-dependent countries in Europe. When fossil fuel crises hit, as they will do more and more often, it is those in fuel poverty who will be hit the hardest as prices shoot up. More people will die of the cold. More parents will have to choose between heating their homes and feeding their children. There is an alternative. Our homes could be retrofitted to keep heat inside. We could increase further our renewable capacity in this country. The government could quickly install solar panels and heat pumps in every home. Energy could be brought into public ownership, so the cost of powering our new heat pumps could be capped or even paid for publicly. The way that we keep our planet safe is the same way that we keep each other safe. The University of Cambridge is deeply invested in the old, dirty way of doing things. By working with companies like Schlumberger, the university is propping up the system which keeps millions of people in poverty, which keeps our city the most unequal in the UK. The situation in Ukraine, which will force gas prices up, has left companies like Schlumberger rubbing their hands with glee. There's nothing that makes money quite like a war. And whose side is the university on? Not the people struggling to heat their homes, but the companies profiting from people's need to simply stay warm. As long as the university continues to support the fossil fuel industry, it is making a moral choice to push people further into poverty and worsen the divides that shame our city. It's time the university made a different choice. I say to the University of Cambridge, whose side are you on? Thank you.
I just wanted to kind of explore for a moment the way that we often think about climate activism and kind of the fight for better working conditions as being in some way opposed, as being like in tension with each other. So, so kind of in a way climate starts sliding out of people's view. It's just not seen as a bread and butter issue still by the media. There's this line about like you can't worry about the end of the world if you're worrying about the end of the week or the end of the day. If you're like thinking about the planet, caring about the planet, feeling the climate meltdown in your bones as a kind of terror that wakes you up in the night and kind of shakes you, becomes a kind of privilege, it becomes a kind of luxury concern. It's like, perversely, it's a first world problem, like we know. It's precisely the opposite, but it becomes this kind of badge of luxury. And then there's a kind of extra sort of like bubble on this, bit of icing on this cake, which has to do with like pensions and pay, and where do they come from anyway? So like if you've got a pension, surely that's coming from oil and gas. And if you want to shut down oil and gas, you're going to be attacking everyone's pension. So again, you're attacking the hard-working people, you're attacking work, and you just have to accept that money is dirty, just get used to it. So all those kinds of attacks come at climate activists, and in response we say we need a Green New Deal, we say we need a just transition, and those things are really important, but they also suggest that we've internalized some of this discourse, we've internalized some of this opposition between jobs and climate. And I think it's really important at an event like this just to call that discourse out as like unadulterated bullshit. Unadulterated bullshit is a phrase some of you may recognize. It was just applied by the climate scientist James Hansen of NASA to the claim of the British government that the COP26 talks were a success. So he said that claim is unadulterated bullshit. He said we are going to blow past 1.5 by 2030. There are going to be exponential climate impacts, sea level rises, extreme weather events. Disaster is really on the horizon, very close now. The struggle to avert climate meltdown and the struggle for workers' rights are the same struggle. They're both a struggle against rampant exploitation. Activists, climate activists, the likes of XR or Insulate Britain or Just Stop Oil, are said by the Daily Telegraph to have a deep-seated contempt for ordinary hard-working people. So, kind of people blocking motorways, people stopping trains are showing their contempt for working people. The state of precarious workers is indeed a scandal in this country, and it's a reason why we need to transform our economic system, not a reason why we need to perpetuate it. The fight for work and the fight for the planet are the same struggle. This is a culture of care, it's a culture of sharing resources, it's a culture of fighting against the iron logic of neoliberalism. In this fight, climate activists and union members are using the same tools. Both climate activists and union members appreciate that political change happens when you create a crisis. We have to create a crisis sufficiently enormous to avert the most enormous crisis. And you do that through striking, and you do that through getting out there and disrupting business as usual.
Cambridge resident Sir David King, Chief Scientific Advisor, Crown Government, for many years. Last year, he said, we have to move quickly. What we do in the next 3 to 4 years, I believe, is going to determine the future of humanity. We have no time left. We have run out of time. People in the global south are suffering. Future generations will suffer more than ever before. We must focus on 2 things. The first, I believe, and Just Stop Oil believes, is massive, non-violent civil disobedience. to force government action, to force this government to act, and to cascade that around the world. We are not alone. People are looking to the UK to take action. People across the world are taking non-violent civil disobedience, and more will happen. We need a win, and if we get a win, that will cascade that. The dominoes will fall over. More people will have the courage and the determination to do this. So non-violent civil disobedience. And we've heard, anti-fracking community have come together and had a win. That is wonderful. And those people who have sacrificed hours and hours and hours of their time has not been to waste. And this is what we need more of. Insulate Britain, their civil disobedience created a big effect. Now insulation is being talked about. We just didn't have the numbers then to really force that government change. With more numbers, we believe we can do it. The second thing is to build a civil resistance community. What is coming down the road is going to need us to be in community with each other, to protect each other, to give each other strength to act. The oil industry, Schlumberger, is squeezing the life out of us. It is squeezing the life out of every living thing on this planet. It is stealing the future of young people and future generations. It is stealing that. We cannot allow this to happen. The oil industry and the governments that support it are powerful, but we are many. There is more of us than there is of them. And if we come together in non-violence, in non-violent civil disobedience, we can challenge this.
Say repair, you say the harm. Repair! The harm. Repair! The harm. Cut! Kick! Repair! Cut! Kick! Repair! Cut! Kick! Repair!